Hello, my name is Mike, and I want to talk to you about the money game. Well, there's a lot of information out there about money. There's a lot of information about compounding interest, and there's a lot of information about things you want to avoid and things you want to acquire to have financial gains and to have financial freedom. There's a lot of free information out there too. There's a lot of good information. But what I've decided to do these podcasts for is because there's not a lot of information that takes you from the beginning. What do? You got a job, you're bringing in money, but you're never ahead more than you were last year. And in some cases, you may be dipping down. And what do? Literally, what do you do with the nickel? What do you do with the $5? What do you do? And where do you put it? And so I wanted to, I was actually looking for information out there so that I can pass along to other people. A lot of times if I have ideas or if I have things that I've been working on, sometimes I don't have to tell anybody. Sometimes I can go find a video for it, or I can go find an article on it and just, send it to somebody instead of having to, regurgitate all this information all over again. But in this series that I want to work on, there's not a lot out there. There's a lot of information that'll kind of get you hype. There's a lot of videos that talk about compounding interest. If you were to put, $100 a month or whatever the case may be, and if you were to get 10% on that, and that's great. Yes, you could be a millionaire, and that's totally true. But where do you get the 10%? Who's going to give you 10% when banks are giving you, sometimes 0.01 and, if you're lucky, 0.5 and above, but not you're never going to get 1%. And CDs may give you 2%, but they want to hold your money for 2 years. And so, I just want to touch on that a little bit, just because there are a lot of things out there. And this is not just another one of those videos that talks about money. Right off the bat, I want to talk about the money game. This is something that I see and I've witnessed in dealing with finances. As soon as you're given a dollar bill or a $5 bill, $20, whatever the case may be, or a paycheck, it's not an inanimate object as it looks. It looks like a piece of paper. But there's a system behind that piece of paper. It actually represents goods and services. And those goods and services are changing. Currencies are changing. The dollar itself is being valued and undervalued. And, every second things are changing. Every second commodities are changing on what that dollar can buy. And if that's not enough, interest rates are changing and they're being set into place. And if that's not enough, inflation is changing every time they print more money. Last time I checked, it was close to about 100 billion a month. This is a lot of new currency coming in, whether it's physical or digital. And I'm not here to say this is a bad thing or this is a good thing. I'm not here to take any position. This is finances. There's no emotion in it. When you put your emotions in these finances, bad things may happen. So this is not an emotional thing. This is not a left, right. I have no viewpoints. My whole stance is let me know what the rules are so I can get my game plan together. There's also overvalued goods and services. When you purchase something that is valued at $50, but because of the name or because of what other kids are doing or wearing or whatever the case may be, you are willing to pay a premium for that. And you're losing because you're not getting as much for your money. You're getting less. And so it's costing more of those dollars. So your dollars are shrinking. And so you got to think about it as percentages. If you have $500 and that's 100% of that, and you go out and you go get things, you're given a higher percentage to that overvalued good or service, whatever the case may be. Now, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself. You can treat yourself. But when you do these things on a constant, it's really hard to get ahead. Another thing is interest rates. If you got an auto loan at a high interest rate, or you're paying compounding interest on a home or different things of that nature, these things are really sucking down your money. Credit cards, different things like that. So we all know that you're affected by inflation. If you have credit cards, you're affected. If you have auto loans, home loans, if you like to buy nice things, then you're being beat to death on your purchasing power and on your dollars. You're just, it's not, it doesn't look pretty from a financial stance. Now let's look at the positive side. What can we do to offset some of that? Well, first, let's be a little wiser about the negative stuff and get out of those overvalued goods and service and get out of that interest. There's nothing you can do about inflation. But first, we need to figure out what we can limit. Okay, now what can we do to be proactive? There's a stock market you can get into. There are CDs you can get into. Like I said, CDs and banks, things of that nature are not going to bring you up even above that 3%. So you're going to have to get a little more. There's other stocks that, have less of a risk. There's bonds that are really, really conservative and don't have much risk at all. And then there's things that you can do. You can get better deals. You can go look for better deals on certain things and try to retain that. Try to retain that money. So if I'm going to get into more of these. There's things like preferred stock, and there's a bunch of different vehicles on how you can move your money around that a lot of people just aren't doing. For instance, I'll just say one. If you were to have money and you had to buy gas, every time the gas went up, you'd be at the mercy of the gas prices or the crude prices. And then when it went down, you'd say, hey, things are great. When it goes up, they take your money, and you're just on this roller coaster and you're at the mercy of these things. Whereas in my situation, if the gas prices and the oil was really low, instead of just saying, whoopee, I get have less pain at the pump, maybe I'll take a couple grand and I'll put it on some crude oil stocks, or I'll put it on something that is affected with that oil system or that gasoline system. And then, as the price of gas goes up and I have to pay more at the pump, then my value of my stocks are going up. And so when they reach that peak, I can cash out, take my profits, and then go back. And you're sort of offsetting these things. If your stock isn't doing very well, then you're paying less at the pump. If you're paying more at the pump, then your stock's doing very well. So you're able to kind of teeter-totter these things, and with the right help and with the right direction, you can really make these things work out. There's a lot of good dividend-paying stocks out there that will give you good money. You just need to know when to get in them and when to get out of them. I want to start these podcasts, and I want to take them from one all the way to the end. And one being, let's look at what we're bringing in, and let's look at what we're putting out, and how much money we can invest, and how much money we can save. You got to run your family just as you would run a business, as a corporation would run. They have quarterly projections, what they're projected to do, in this next quarter, how to cut costs. You got to do the same thing with your family. Corporations will get out there and they'll do good. And then if things are not doing well, they go bankrupt and, the corporation's gone. For some reason, the household, because we put that emotion in there, and the household is emotional. We love our kids, we love our wives, we love our dog, and all these different things. But finances support these things, and so we want to continue to be emotional about those as well, but we can't. We have to look at them like, okay, it's time for business. Where are we going to put this? Where are we going to put that? And you gotta do better. Every quarter you got to do better. If for some reason, one quarter wasn't that good, you got to go look back and figure it out. What did we do wrong? What do we need to move around? It's not an emotional thing. It's a very clear focus, deal. And you spend a little time, watching the market. Spend a little time watching sort of these channels of talking about what interest rates are, and just kind of spend a little time with that. Talk about it at the dinner table, and stay focused. There's a time to be in bonds. There's a time to get out of bonds. There's a time to be in equities, and there's a time to move away from certain things. And you got to play that game. It's the financial game. If you're not at least playing, and a lot of people will say, oh well, that's not a sure bet. Nothing is a sure bet. The only thing that's a sure bet is that if you're not playing this game, you're losing. Period. It is a sure deal that if you're not taking charge of that dollar that dollar is losing value. I mean, it's losing value, and I'm winning because you're losing, and we need to get up and we need to look at these things and we need to take charge of our lives. So like I said, this is just an introduction podcast. And if I can get a lot of attention, if I can get some subscribers, maybe 50 subscribers at first, then I'll start doing some in-depth podcasts, and we can start doing some Q&A, and we can come together as a little network family type deal, however many followers or subscribers I have, and we can help each other, see what we're doing, and try to get ourselves out of the situation that we're in, or that I was in a couple years back. My financial situation has drastically changed. I didn't get a new job. I didn't win the lottery, but it sure does feel like I did. And a lot of people, look at me and they know it feels like I did, but I didn't. I just changed my focus, changed my spending habits, and changed my attention. My attention is on the markets now. My attention is on what's going on in Congress, not because, I want to pick it, but because I need to make a move. I want to know what's going on with these monetary policies and different things that are changing, because I need to know where to put my money. And so yeah, guys, if I can get 50 subscribers, then I will put out the first video, and on that one I'm going to be talking about grocery shopping and just many ways that we can cut costs, many ways we can live the same exact quality of life, but keep some of those dollars back so we can work those dollars, and how we can, instead of just saying, 10% compounding interest will be millionaires and all this and all that, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you the possibilities that, but as far as getting 2% on a CD, that's garbage. We can get, I can tell you that I'm getting, a lot more. Let me just say that. But I can't say that, with assurance, because, these are risks that I'm taking. To me, they're fine. They're not that much of a risk, but they are a risk. But there are some things out there that'll give you 5, 6, 7% that are really not that risky at all. There's some that'll give you 7%. That you can look and they're almost bond-like. They have a certain par level that they try not to veer from. Certain things will happen in the market, and you kind of see that. A lot of people were scared about 2008 and the crash of all these other crashes. But if you look, you'll see that there are signs. There are tail signs that hey, things are not. They're not going to be good. I foresee this because of this right here. And so we just want to educate each other on this and kind of go back and forth. So like I said, 50 subscribers, and I'm going to put out podcast 1. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.